Thank you all for being here tonight. My first book signing. Wow. Big day for me. My first book. A dream come true. And there were times, believe me, when I thought that maybe this day, this wonderful day, would never arrive. Writing a novel is an enormous undertaking, a significant journey, a linguistic pregnancy, a daring, daunting expedition which cannot be accomplished alone. It calls for the assistance and cooperation of many people, without whom its successful conclusion would not be possible. This is my novel. Here it is. It's finished, all written and wrapped. It's got my name on it. It says so right here. I'm the author, but I would not be holding this book in my hand right now if it were not for the assistance, encouragement, and love of the following individuals. Jerry McRae, a good friend, an old drinking buddy, who after several beers one late night or early morning 10 years ago helped me develop the germ of the idea for this book. Jack Marchand, who, for what he described as certain future considerations, gave me an advance of money so I could afford to research the necessary historical material. Dale Winship, who did the actual research for a third of Jack's advance. Ariel Blake, another good friend and fellow writer, who listened to the germ of an idea and believed in it enough to help me sketch an outline and later, following the ingestion of some powerful stimulants, a very rough first draft. Johnny Captain Riefschneider for providing us with the stimulants. Ralph and Adele Lodge, who graciously permitted me to live and work in their elegant home while they were away in Europe. Jeremy Fields, my editor at that time, who read my rough first draft and suggested where I might take it in revision. Arnett Goldstein, who became my new editor, and Moore, a good friend, who saw the potential of the work and was able to revise the manuscript into something, as she put it, trembling on the verge of coherence. Rob Hitchcock, an insurance agent who so capably handled all the details following the unfortunate fire in the Lodge's estate. Rocco Meat Picone, who besides being my pal, as well as my personal trainer, assisted Rob in negotiations with the Lodges, evened the score with Jeremy, convinced Jerry that his share of the germ of an idea did not constitute legal intellectual property, told Jack what he could do with his considerations, and most important of all, found a literary agent for me when that daunting task seemed well nigh impossible. Jonathan Saunders, my agent, my friend. Rocco sold him on the book, and he sold the book, and in doing so, gave me the additional inspiration I needed to write it. Gina Richmond, an aspiring writer who understood everything I was going through when I was going through a lot, and who was kind enough to have a passionate affair with me somewhere in the middle of the entire project. Her ardent lovemaking managed to bolster my confidence when I needed it most and carry me through those darkest hours. Abigail Wiedenhurst, my wife, who forgave my affair with Gina and subsequently with Tina, as well as Susie, Heather, and Kate, and believed me when I told her they were only inconsequential infatuations brought on by the stress of my book. The Rockefeller Foundation, which gave me a grant of money which I used, in part, to send Abigail to Aspen for a badly needed vacation, where she subsequently had an inconsequential back-at-ya infatuation of her own with Stu, one of the skiing instructors. Stu, last name unknown, for having that affair with Abigail. Wendy, the unexpected issue of Stu and Abigail, a delightful child, and the grounds for my ensuing divorce. Andy Lieberman, my lawyer, a pit bull in the courtroom who obtained that divorce for me. Dr. Richard Harness, who proved through DNA testing that Wendy was the undeniable issue, however unexpected, of Stu and not me. Watson and Crick for their discovery of DNA. The Ford Foundation, which provided me with the funds which enabled Rachel and I to go to the fabulous Villa Maracchione on Lake Como, where we spent 3 carefree, idyllic months steeping ourselves in Italian culture, wine, and food while discussing the final version of the book's cover art. Did I forget to mention Rachel? Rachel DeVries, who provided me with invaluable assistance on numerous technical points in the book, as well as her input on the cover art, and who, in my humble opinion, looks better and is more at home on a nude beach than any other woman in the world. The MacArthur Foundation, for their overwhelming generosity and a so-called genius grant, which might be overstating the case just a tad, but which enabled me to purchase a small farm in northern Vermont, where I could put the final touches on the book without being disturbed. Carol Wu, a student at a nearby college in Vermont who loves literature and who was good enough and wise enough to disturb me despite my feeble protests. Caldecott Realty, who bought the farm from me scarcely 2 months after I'd purchased it for nearly twice what I'd paid for it. Thomas Rakenfall, Carol's stepfather, and my broker, who urged me to put the money from his sale of the property into stocks just before the market jumped 3,000 points. David Wiedenhurst, my father, who supported me in everything I did, including the stretch when I was going to be a jazz musician, and who encouraged me to go on with the book when it seemed a mere pipe dream, and passed away, sadly, before he could see it in publication, leaving me with a hefty insurance policy, which I also, thank God, cashed out and put into stocks. South Africa, for their Krugerrands, which is where we sunk all my money when we stepped out of the market a week before it went into freefall. And finally, my deepest appreciation, gratitude, and admiration to Michael Davis, a real miracle worker, an unsung hero, who was able to take a motley collection of drafts, notes, revisions, scribbles, doodles, and some insights communicated through several rambling marathon phone conversations, and somehow fashion out of that jumbled morass a wonderful novel which is, today, the #1 best-selling book in the land. My book. Amen. Wait a minute. I can't forget Vince Taters Picone, Rocco's brother, who agreed to act as my publicist. To anyone else with whom I may have shared my thoughts, my doubts, my fears, my hopes, my plans, my bed, a beverage or two, any class 4 controlled substances, as well as my dreams, I can only say a heartfelt thank you. And to you, my readers, may you continue to buy and treasure this book, available both online and at your nearest local booksellers. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.